Holy moly, Will, this Mixer stuff, what is going on? What is going on with this Mixer stuff?
It's getting shut down.
It's getting shut down, absolutely. Yeah. But it's more to the story, as usual. Yes. That's what we're here for, Will.
Yes.
It's more to the story. Streamers are sad, angry, and moving to Twitch. What a surprise. They're moving to Twitch. I mean, it's not a surprise at all, to be honest. This whole thing, it came out of nowhere. I, of course, covered this story back when Ninja moved over to Mixer. It was a big deal. There was talk of big numbers getting passed around, big dollar signs for the move. Mixer, of course, a Microsoft company. They wanted to get into the streaming game. Came out with a bang, made a splash, signing some of the top talent in the form of Ninja, in the form of Shroud. Paid them rumored $20 to $30 million.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't no chump change.
That was just a year ago.
That ain't no lunch money.
Yeah. Very short amount of time.
You could use it to buy lunch.
Yes, you can. You know?
Couple different lunches.
What kind of lunch would you get?
With 20 million?
Yeah.
Probably cheeseburger or something.
Oh, okay.
You thought I was going to talk about caviar or something like that. No. That's funny. Cheeseburger's still a cheeseburger even with 20 million.
I thought you were going to go with pizza.
Yeah. Wood burning oven.
Yeah.
What can I say about this? Okay, so you have overnight, seemingly, out of nowhere, Mixer says it's now Facebook gaming. We're getting sold to Facebook. It's now Facebook gaming. And rumors start to emerge that offers are being made to the top streamers. I read this rumor tweet yesterday that Facebook gaming was going to double the offer to Ninja. I saw a number 30 million to start. So the double number would be 60 million? And I saw another number to Shroud in the form of, I think, 20 million to stay on Facebook gaming. And the rumor was that they wouldn't. Although this Verge article here is saying that they're undecided. And this Verge article is also saying that a lot of smaller streamers, this individual here, who wrote this article? This was Tom Warren. Tom Warren wrote this. Apparently, he reached out to 30 different Mixer partners, and a lot of them sound upset, Will.
Yeah.
A lot of them. One of them was on stream crying. I devoted to building this thing here on Mixer. And I do not want to go. A lot of people not super into the Facebook brand right now, wanting to move over to Facebook gaming. And for a number of different reasons, and understandably so. Apparently, Facebook was offering the average streamer on there $2,500 to just flip over to Facebook gaming. It doesn't seem to have done the trick.
As like a one-time fee?
One-time deal. $2,500 to come over to Facebook gaming. I don't understand what Mixer is as Facebook gaming if none of the streamers go. Particularly the bigger ones. If they could have landed Ninja, maybe they're still in negotiations. I don't really know. It's a lot of rumors at the moment. Then maybe you have a pitch to people to come over there. But if you don't get any of this talent, what do you really have? Besides maybe some integration into the next generation Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much incentive for people to come over there and watch streaming there. So it looks like what's going to happen in this Mixer shutdown. By the way, this is all developing. It's all really new. But it looks like what's going to happen is the vast majority of people will just go back to Twitch. It looks like what might even happen is guys like Ninja will get a buyout and just go back to Twitch like nothing even happened.
Right.
Which it really throws you for a loop mentally as far as trying to do the math on what took place.
Yeah.
What did he get? So let's say he does get the 20, 30 million, goes back to Twitch like nothing ever happened, and gets the old audience back, presumably.
Yeah. It's just like a write-off for that 1 year.
Microsoft, Facebook, what do they split it? I presume Microsoft would have to be the one to pay it out because they had the original deal. But then it would be contingent on whatever they got out of Facebook in the exchange.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure what the audience thinks about it. The audience here on YouTube. In the past, you talk about watching content on Facebook. Not that many people are into it. In this makes sense. We're here on YouTube. But obviously, people watch content on Facebook. Videos get views on Facebook. Can streaming happen on Facebook? Now, of course, we can go one layer deeper. And that's where things get a little bit more sensitive. Because prior to this thing happening, in the full shutdown mode, it's now Facebook gaming, there was a bit of a controversy taking place that originated on Twitter. Former employee of Mixer made some claims that there may have been some terms used internally, offensive terms used internally, indicative of discrimination. And so that post goes out, and all of a sudden, we end up with this shutdown in a short period of time, less than 24 hours after that post starts to pick up traction. And people start to say, hey, Microsoft, you better do something about this. And even a couple of streamers went online, and their tweets suggested that they weren't going to stream until this was rectified. I don't know how you would have rectified it. The claims were made against an executive at Mixer who had made these statements. These perceived derogatory statements. And they weren't just derogatory statements that could have been perceived as racial discrimination, but they were also derogatory statements in the sense that she was referencing the partners that they had in a kind of negative way, in a weird way, in a way that I would never. Maybe you should just open up the statement. Here it is. Mixer was facing calls to investigate claims that a Mixer manager referred to partners as slaves. Like, I don't even care. Even if you take out the sensitivity around that term, if Ninja reads that, what's he going to... Why are you... What? And so I'm sitting there thinking to myself, they go and read this stuff. For sure they see this tweet because you're going to be following Mixer news if you're the biggest streamer on Mixer. And you're going to think to yourself, oh, I don't really want to be a part of that kind of relationship. Now, of course, I don't know. It's all, at this moment in time, it's all, alleged. Who knows what's going to take place. But what a crazy turn of events. You get this tweet. You get these allegations, and then you shut down the entire thing. Facebook gaming. Mixer was nothing. And I told you this when we first got in here. They bust out this news, and it immediately buries the other news, which would have tied this very sensitive thing to Microsoft, the brand.
Yeah. It might not just be convenient timing.
I don't know. I can't really say any more than that. You can look into it yourself if you want to read the original claims against this particular manager at Mixer. It's one of these extended tweets. Regardless of where you land on your own level of sensitivity, it's bad wording if it did take place, if that was the wording, regardless. And Microsoft now gets to exit that conversation about that employee and that manager, and whoever managed that manager, they get to exit it completely now. And Facebook gets to say, well, it wasn't our problem because we weren't there at the time.
This was in the past.
Yeah, that wasn't us.
We didn't do that.
That wasn't Facebook. And Microsoft can say, well, we got rid of the whole thing. It's crazy. Crazy turn of events. Now, I'm interested to see how it shakes out for the average Mixer streamer. I got to be honest, I didn't watch Mixer. And it brings me to one more thing about this topic, about how it's difficult, I think, for a person who's in the social media sphere to accept the fact that fewer people, fewer eyeballs are on them, even in exchange for money. Which is why I think Facebook has an uphill battle in trying to convince the top profile talent here to come over there, even if they're using money. Even if they say, here's $60 million. The difference between 30 and 60, if you're giving up the potential to reach the biggest audience, your biggest fans that are interested in you, whatever the Twitch homepage, it turns out the incentive structure that exists for your top talent in the social media realm The incentive structure has to have a piece where you can actually deliver an audience. Even you pay them $100 million, but if nobody shows up to watch, how long can you do that for?
Yeah.
It's 17 people there, $100 million in the bank. Now, I know people think I'm crazy right now. You have people watching say, I'll take $100 million for nobody to ever look at me again. That's fair. I get that. But I'm talking specifically about the difference between 30 and 100 or 30 and 60 or 20 and 40. These crazy figures. If you can get the lower number and be autonomous and go where your people are and go where people want to see you, that's a much more difficult thing on the psyche. Because you got to remember, and I know I've gone long on this. I got more topics. I know I got long on this. The psyche here, when for so long you've worked on these concurrent viewer numbers, for so long you've worked on reaching as many people as you can. And yes, you counted the money after the fact, but you got tuned up and tuned in to those performance metrics. I can speak from experience here. And then to see that dip in any way because of your decisions and because you cashed out in a way, there's got to be some sort of an impact that takes place. Because you got to remember, at least in Ninja's case, he goes from Twitch to Mixer originally for the rumored 30 million to a seemingly unknown platform. Let's say even if Facebook gaming, even if we can compare it to Mixer, though it probably has the potential for an audience even bigger than Mixer because it's on Facebook, but even if we do a one-to-one, why don't you accept the doubling of that offer if you liked the original idea? Do you see what I'm saying here? I'm taking you on a trip here, but what I'm trying to get at is if you were going to sub out being on the biggest platform for your style of content, which was Twitch, if you were going to sub that out for a payday, which is reasonable, I'm cool with it. Why don't you double down on it? Why don't you sub it out the next time around? And maybe he will, because I don't think anything's official at this moment. But if you don't double down on it, then what you're saying is you undervalue the audience and overvalue the money. What you're saying if you change your decision at that moment. Granted, I should say, Will, when I say overvalue the money, I don't mean money in general. I mean that exact money. Because the truth is, by going back to the big eyeballs, the big group of eyeballs, you unlock other ways to get the money anyways.
Right. For maybe like a longer term
in different ways.
Revenue stream.
In different ways. And there's got to be a fear as well that when you go to these new trial platforms, that your ability to unlock money in the future is also potentially affected. And people are still saying, Lou, 30 million, I'm good. What you mean unlock more money later? But I'm saying it's kind of the game of life. You wonder why an athlete wants to negotiate for 120 million instead of 117. It's the game of life. It's not necessarily a certain point, it's diminishing returns. We all understand that. Your life doesn't improve that much after a certain point, but it's the game of life. The whole thing ticks on that premise. So anyway, very interesting development. Apologize for,
Yeah.
but it's interesting to me. I got to say, man, it's interesting.